And big waves out there. So good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Wednesday. This is my favorite day of the week because if we play our cards right, I get to see you kind of all day long. So today's going to be interesting because we're traveling, so I'm not quite sure. I guess I don't know. We might be on the side of the road a couple times, but we're going to figure it out because we're going to do all kinds of Zooms today. It'll be a lot of fun. But today our word was requested by Ruth Ann Parrish, and it's conquer. So I didn't see any birthdays out there. So guys, if it's your birthday, please be letting us know, or friend request us, because that's what I do is I stalk people on Facebook. So that's how I find out if it's your birthday. But if we're not friends, I won't see it there. So you just got to tell me. But I didn't see any birthdays, but the word today comes from Ruth Ann, and it's conquer. And what does conquer mean? Well, hold on, I got to zoom my my notes in a little bit bigger. Okay, here we go. So to take control of through the use of force, to defeat something or someone through the use of force, to gain control of a problem or difficulty through great effort. And when I was looking into this, I found all kinds of quotes. So it's not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves. That's Edmund Hillary. Well, you can never conquer the mountain. You can only conquer yourself. That's Jim Whittaker. And I was starting to think about this, and it's like, okay, well, what's the biggest obstacle between me and, let's say, happiness, or between me and success, or me and inner peace, right? What is the biggest obstacle? And I think we could probably all go, well, like our first inclination might be, well, I'd be happier if, I don't know, I had a bigger paycheck, or I'd be more successful if my kids would let me work a little bit more, or inner peace is going to come if the house always stayed. I don't know, right? Like we could come up with some nonsense, like we all probably could. But if we slowed down for a minute and we thought about it, we'd probably say, oh, my biggest obstacle lives right here. My biggest obstacle is me, right? And so many times, like I'll talk to people and they're like, well, I meant to. And I do the same thing. So I'm not pointing fingers like, well, I was supposed to, or I was gonna, but really the thing that stopped me was myself. And I really became my biggest obstacle. So when I was looking into this, I said, well, what do we really need to conquer? I don't need to really conquer anybody else. What I need to conquer is myself. So how can we conquer ourselves so we can go get all the incredible things that we want from this world? First of all, we got to have a little bit of self-control. We got to be able to say no to ourselves, so have the ability to exercise a little bit of restraint over our own impulses. Like anybody else can, enter into the kitchen late at night and you don't need anything, but you're like, what sounds good is, right? And if we have a little bit of self-control and we have a little bit of self-discipline, we can say no, because I know that you might want it right this minute, right? But you don't necessarily need it, and you definitely won't want it in 30 minutes when you have a bellyache. So in other words, like saying no to ourselves is so that our weaknesses and our limitations don't control us, right? Because we all have them. We all have those lesser strengths, but if we have a little bit of self-control, we don't let those things control us. Next is delay instant gratification. And if we really want to conquer ourselves, we've got to be able to hit that pause button sometimes. And it's super easy to say yes to it, right? Like think about my son when he was little. We'd be going through the grocery store or Target. Oh gosh, heaven help me. Target was the worst when Chase was little because he had a case of the gimmies and he wanted that instant gratification. And I'm going to say this. I was a spoiled child. So I would go to the grocery store with my mom literally every day. And every day she picked me up from school, we'd go to the grocery store and I would get something, a candy bar, a little ball, a gummy. I don't even know. Like I would just get something. My mom, I think it was her way of getting some peace. She would send me to the kid aisle and she would go do her shopping. And I always got something. And I swear to you, at 30, I'd go to the grocery store with my mom and I'd be like, well, where's my goodie? And you don't get goodies when you're 30 anymore. Like it just doesn't, life doesn't work that way. And so I said to myself when my kids were little that we weren't going to start that pattern. So they never got a yes in the grocery store, in Target, whatever, even when I could. Other times it was because I couldn't, but I didn't want them to have that feeling of no matter what, it was going to be gratified. But my son, oh my goodness, like there was many a day where I had to pick him up, throw him over my shoulder, and we just had to leave because he couldn't handle that. But it's easy to give in to that instant gratification, either to get your kid to be quiet or to just give yourself a little bit of joy in that moment. But if we can conquer that and instead focus on like the long-term consequences of whatever it is that we're doing, then the benefits and rewards will be so much greater. Next is we've got to overcome that voice of self-doubt and self-criticism. So, sometimes we can be so mean to us, right? Like, do you ever feel that where maybe even, we'll just say maybe we even accomplished something recently, right? And when people congratulate you, you kind of want to crawl into the ground because you're like, oh my gosh, I don't deserve, right? I didn't do anything special. I just kept my head down. I just kept whatever it may be. And sometimes that's just another way that we're mean to us and we don't cheer ourselves on and we're constantly kind of digging away. Well, we can't conquer ourselves if we're always being mean to ourselves. So surround yourself with people that believe in you. Surround yourself with people that are supportive, and above everything else, observe your own thoughts. And when you hear those things tick, tick, ticking away, try to take a moment and say, well, is that true? Maybe it's true in this moment, but it's probably not true overall. So maybe we can step away from that thought or we can flip it around. Next is to do your best to stay on the path. Do you know what you want? Do you know where you're going? Focus on your goals and remember that nothing is truly neutral. So every action is either going to draw us a little bit closer to what we want or a little bit further away. So if I want to be able to get up and down from the ground with my baby or my imaginary, not my babies are big, but my imaginary grandbabies, if I want to be able to do that, but I keep choosing, like today, I'm like, oh, I'm going to sleep a little bit later. It's only 5 minutes, but then I didn't get to do my little stretches or whatever. Well, I took myself one step farther away from my imaginary dream, right? So every decision we make, even if it's little, it moves us closer or farther away. Next is to tame that ego. Anybody else sometimes get your ego get in the way? Like, why didn't they want me? Why didn't they ask me? Why didn't whatever? There is extraordinary power and freedom when we can let go of that ego and be willing to ask for help, being willing to ask for support. And it takes incredible strength. It takes incredible vulnerability. But if we can let go of that ego and determine where you really need help, we can absolutely conquer ourselves. Next would be to embrace radical honesty. And that's really with ourselves. Okay. Now, I know some people in this world, we all know them, that they kind of will live radically honest, brutally honest. No, 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 no. That's, in my opinion, I'm going to say this lovingly, that's just rude. I don't need you to be brutally honest with me, but I can accept honest, careful, gentle criticism. Like we can all take it, but don't be brutal, right? But be open and willing to receive criticism and feedback so we can learn and we can grow. I won't always win. I know that, but I can always learn. And I would say that with that is beware of being ruined by false praise. You ever have somebody that you talk to and they're like, you come off, maybe you're in the front of the room and you speak a little bit and somebody's like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. And really, when you were watching them, they were like this the whole time. They didn't even hear anything you said, but they just wanted to be nice or whatever, which is so sweet. It's so kind, but we can get swayed by that false praise and we can think it's reality. So we got to be aware of, not everything is necessarily true. We can always learn, we can always grow, but don't use criticism as a reason to give up, right? Sometimes we can get a little bit of negative feedback and we can think, oh, I'm not for this. I'm going to turn around and take my ball. I'm going to go home. I'm not playing in this field anymore. But we can learn from it. We can move on. Next is to take action. Any other Mel Robbins fans out there? I love her books. I think she writes great things. And one of her books was Oh gosh, the 5-second rule, okay, thank you, Leah. I'm like, I'm staring at you. Yeah, I needed you to give me that nod, so thank you. But pretty much before you do anything, right? Anything that you're hesitating, right? I need to go for a run. I really don't want to because I'm happy in my little chair. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, right? Because 1 is the kickoff, right? Sometimes we'll go, okay, I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Well, guess what? You can do at 3. At least I can. I can go to 4 and 5 and 6, and you could count forever. But there's kind of a finite number if you count backwards. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go take action right now. Even if you take a step in the wrong direction, you can course correct, but by taking action, we're at least doing something and it allows us to conquer ourselves. And then lastly, do the right thing. If we truly want to conquer ourselves, do the right thing. Responsibility is so important. And it's a huge part of success and inner peace. So if we make sure that maybe we're not doing the things that are fun, maybe we're not doing the things that are exciting, maybe not like the most attractive to other people, but we know that it's absolutely the right thing. Well, that's a way that we can conquer ourselves, feel better, live in that place of inner peace because we know that we did the right thing. So thank you guys so much for being here today, and appreciate each and every one of you. Can't wait to spend the rest of the day with you. So join me at noon if you're part of our company for getting started. Join us tonight for Wednesday Wisdom. We're going to have Summer on with us. But I love you guys and have a beautiful Wednesday. And thanks for my helpers. I always appreciate you.
Oh,